few hours ago, I was at the Wojo Media Conference, and I was in a room sitting next to people that were doing 7 figures a year, 6 figures a year, 6 figures a month, and some had just started. It was an amazing event hosted by Jason Wojo. Very direct, great value, got to the point, learned so much from it. And typically when I would go to these conferences, ran by, people that are doing 8 figures a year, usually I'd leave feeling inspired, also overwhelmed. I have so much to do. I need to work harder. I need to go all in. I usually ended up leaving with less energy than when I started because of how many things I had. There's always more to learn and do. There's more funnels. There's more marketing. There was more ads. There was more systems. There were more sales. There was more social media, more things to learn, more things to optimize. This time I left asking a different question, less about everything I had to do and more questions like, what are the few things I could do to get the most value? What are things that I could do to really push the needle for to get the most results? How can I make more money without having to sacrifice everything else? Because that's the question I've been wrestling with for years. And that is why I'm doing the experiment. A couple years ago, I bought a business called PropertyMOB for $75,000 paid in cash. At the time, I was in this business mastermind, shout out to Cody Sanchez, and they were teaching us how to buy businesses. And a lot of people were buying like boring businesses is what she called them, which would be like laundromat or HVAC repair companies. And I was looking at a property management company and I was so stoked about it. I was like, this is it. Because at the time I was already real estate investing. I already understood property management. I worked with property managers. I'm like, this is it. I did the interviews. I know I'm meeting with the broker and the owner and operator of the company. I'm going through these interviews. I put in an offer in a property management company. I had went through the interviews. I ran the numbers. I imagined what life would be like if I owned it. It was a $500,000 property management company in Bloomington, Indiana. I was so excited about it. I ended up losing out to a all-cash buyer that was a bigger property management company that kind of absorbed hers. I'm smiling now, but I was devastated because I was like, man, this was going to change everything for me. I remember just feeling disappointed, which is ironic now in hindsight because you can look back and be like, I don't even like to do property management. Now, I still wouldn't mind owning a property management company, but I think it was a blessing in disguise. But shortly after, I was thinking about what I wanted, and I'm like, okay, I have these skill sets. I have this much money. I kind of didn't want to have to take a loan because I was still a little cautious. So I was like, maybe I need to calm down my price range. And I went to Fiverr.com, found this business, and it had organic traffic. It was in the real estate industry, and it was in my price range. It wasn't tied to a location. I could build anywhere. I wouldn't have to leave my job, so I could still feel secure. I was like, okay, location independent. I can afford it. It's in my niche. So I bought it. And there were some lessons I had to learn the hard way. I didn't do enough due diligence. The business wasn't quite like I thought it was. The previous owner was not the founder. The email list was not as healthy as I believed. And then some recurring revenue was lost, like $1,500 a month due to a system change. And there's nothing I could really do about it because I didn't really have things in place. I already paid them. And so my deal structure was not good. And after the deal closed, the support became limited and less than what we agreed upon. There's a lot of lessons I learned from this experience. So I will do another video because there's some lessons I learned that I think could save you a lot of money. But the short version is this business never became what I thought it would. And then life happened. My consulting career took off. The opportunities got bigger. My income got bigger. My responsibilities got bigger. And PropertyMOB slowly became something that I would just work in my off time. When I focused on it, it made money. When I didn't, it didn't. And over time, it became dormant, not dead, just waiting. Today, the business is generating $0. Actually, it cost me more money than it's made. And I know that's probably not the glamorous entrepreneurship story people would like to hear, but it's the truth. The interesting thing about this is the business itself is not the reason I'm doing this. PropertyMOB is just a vehicle. The real reason is a few months ago, I had this part. I rented out an Airbnb near my old college, where a lot of my closest friendships were started. And people flew in from all over the country. I'm talking New York, Chicago, Milwaukee, Houston, LA, Kansas City, Michigan. People took time out of their lives to come celebrate me. They had made videos talking about our friendships, the memories we've shared, and the impact I had on their lives. And I remember sitting there, it was later that night. It was actually Friday night. And man, I was just sitting there thinking about how blessed I am, how fortunate I am to just have all these people I care about so close to me and getting to celebrate and have fun and make new memories. And I was like, I would not trade this for all of the money in the world. I know how much connection means to me. And for the first time, I realized why I hadn't gone all in on this entrepreneurship. Or even maybe not the first time I realized it, but the first time I sat with it and allowed myself to not be in denial with. And it wasn't because I'm not ambitious. I couldn't or I didn't know how. It was because I never wanted it badly enough to sacrifice everything else. Some may call that a limiting belief, and maybe it is, but at the time, that's what I felt like. But because I never wanted it bad enough to sacrifice everything else, even if it was just 2 years, like lock yourself in a closet for 2 years and you'll come out and then you'll have all the freedom in the world. I never even wanted to sacrifice 2 years because a part of me is like, if you only get to see your friends once a year, you only have like, that might be 50 times. Like I'm not even trying to sacrifice 2 of those to lock myself in a closet. And the entrepreneurship culture tells you, if you really want something, you'll sacrifice everything. I'm talking weekends, I'm talking evenings, hobbies, relationships, peace. And I never wanted that. And don't get me wrong, I understand there's trade-offs. And so with this, I'll trade a Netflix show, I'll trade doom scrolling, I'll trade drinking and feeling like crap the next day or going to bed. Like there's trade-offs for things, but other things I wasn't willing to trade off. But I also want business and I want a good life. And maybe part of that's like how I grew up. My family grew up poor, welfare, subsidized housing. My family worked incredibly hard to give me and my brother opportunities that they didn't have. And I knew what it felt like to go without subsidized housing, welfare, food stamps. I knew what it felt like to not have enough, to always be stressed about survival and money. You don't get the luxury of not seeing that as a kid. Like you see it, even if your parents trying to hide it, you still see it. And I know what it feels like to just see that as a kid and watch people sacrifice and watch people not have enough. And because of that, security matters a lot to me. Freedom matters to me. Having options matter to me, which is why I work so hard. The degree, the scholarships, the career, the rental properties, which is why I started investing. I started building skills because even when I was making a good income in my W-2, I never felt safe because they could just take that paycheck away. And I was just like, I need to do something outside of this, something that I can control. And now I'm blessed and I'm proud. I put myself in a position to not have to worry about survival again, even though it doesn't feel like that, but working on it. And so survival isn't my primary concern anymore. I make over $200,000 a year. I have investments. I have a safety net. I have options. And that's exactly why this experiment matters. Because the first time in my life, I'm building from a place of choice, not survival. I don't need the business to survive. I want the business because I want freedom. I'd rather spend my energy building something I own because I've already worked so much of having these skills. The marketing, the sales, the systems, the funnels, the websites, the strategy, ads. At some point, I gotta find out what's possible if I actually apply what I've learned. And this is the biggest fear. It's not failing because I failed before. It's not losing money because I've lost money before, multiple 5 figures. My biggest fear is never feeling like I want at anything because I've been bouncing between everything. Never fully committing to myself, never being consistent. Always wondering what would have been like if I just focused for 6 months. I wondered if I'd been not committed enough, if I'd been holding myself back, if these belief systems were keeping me in chains, or was it the golden handcuffs? So instead of continuing to wonder, today I decided it's time to find out. I operated under this belief that success requires sacrifice, but mostly that success requires suffering. That if I wanted more income, something else had to suffer. If I wanted to advance my career, my relationships would suffer. If I wanted to build a business, my health would suffer. If I wanted freedom someday, I had to delay living today. And maybe that's true. Maybe there are seasons where that is exactly what's required. But I don't know if I completely believe it anymore. Think about how much the world has changed. It used to take me 3 hours to grocery shop. I can order it within 5 minutes. Make tasks. I can use AI to build documents and be more effective. I can communicate with people anywhere in the world like that. The tools we have today are incredible. So the question I've been asking myself is, have we updated our beliefs? Have we updated our beliefs to match the world that we're living in? Or are we still living under assumptions from eras that no longer serve us, from eras that we've outgrown? I'm not saying there aren't trade-offs. There absolutely are. You can't do everything. You can't be everywhere. Every yes does require a no. But I do think we might be underestimating what's possible. And instead of debating it, I decided to test it because I'm an engineer and that's what we do. This experiment is not just about growing PropertyMOB. Great. I cannot wait to make more money, but it's not just about making money. It's finding out whether I can build something meaningful without sacrificing what matters the most. So here's the challenge. Over the next 6 months, my goal is to take PropertyMOB from $0 a month to $5,000 a month in revenue. Why $5,000? Because it's meaningful. It's enough to prove the model works. It's enough to prove consistency. And as if I can get it there, I should ask myself if I should continue owning it. Maybe I'd be better off focusing on my career. But before I make the decision, I want to know. I don't want to guess. I want to know. Now, the biggest constraint is time. I get 10 hours per week. That's it. Because if I can't figure out how to make meaningful progress in 10 hours, then I haven't solved the problem that I'm trying to solve. The goal is leverage. The goal is systems. The goal is focus. Doing the things that actually matter, because 10 hours, we all have an extra 10 hours. If you go to your phone right now, it probably shows we doom scroll for 10 hours. So I'm like, I'm just getting rid of that time. I'm doing that trade-off of maybe not watching Netflix TV shows, maybe not doom scrolling or just sitting around doing nothing, but I'm not sacrificing walking my dog or going to play pickleball or hooping with my friends or traveling every week. I'm going to document this process, what works, lessons learned, what I'm focusing on. I'll also be making other videos that maybe teach what systems I'm building just to give you all more resources and tools, and you can learn from my mistakes along the way. I'm hopeful that you'll go on this journey with me, and also feel free to share anything that you've learned along the way. And then every month, I'm going to give you a scoreboard. Here's my traffic, here's my revenue, here's products sold, in hours worked, whether it felt sustainable, what completely flopped, what I should focus on next. And basically not just whether it works, but whether I enjoy it. I spent enough of my life chasing goals. Now I'm trying to figure out how to enjoy the process as I chase these goals. So here's what we're starting at. PropertyMOB 0, goal is $5,000 a month. Still have my W-2, very demanding, takes a lot of energy. Well, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to find a way because this is not a bias test. I want this to work. I'm trying to do the 10 hours a week. Some weeks may go up, some weeks may go down, but overall trying to do it 10 hours a week. So my goal next week is simple. Figure out exactly what I should be working on. Either way, maybe this experiment works. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'll prove you can't have it all. Or maybe I'll discover that we've been underestimating what's possible. Either way, we'll find out. Welcome to the experiment. As always, I believe in you. I'm rooting for you. Go live life intentionally.